Hello and welcome to another Galactic Historian short. My name is Paul Shelley, and this is a shorter take on the lore of sci-fi and space content. This week, we're starting a highly requested series on the lore behind the ships of Star Citizen, starting with one of the oldest and most iconic ships of the UEE fleet, the Aegis Gladius. The PG5 Gladius was one of the first major military ships to be developed by the new conglomerate Aegis Dynamics. The company had recently been formed by the combination of Aegis Macrocomputing, a major ship computing company, and Dynamic Production Systems, a company with 4 systems worth of shipyards, for the explicit purpose to build the ships of the UPE fleet, and later, the UEE. Built to replace the aging Stiletto interceptors, the Gladius was designed to be light enough to launch from capital ships, with top-of-the-line maneuvering thrusters and a heavy focus on dogfighting. Because of the close relationship developed between the Imperator, Ivor Messer, and the company, forged during the First Tevaran War, Aegis was a shoo-in for the company to win the contract to replace the old interceptors. The new PG5 Gladius began its service in 2579 with an all-Gladius squadron called Squadron 36. This squadron was established after the last stand of the combat air patrol of the doomed UEES Olympus in 2571. Designed as an interceptor group, they were tasked to create a new fighter doctrine built around patrolling interceptors rather than the mixed heavy and medium fighters of the past. This change had to come quickly because in 2603, the squadron was tasked with the frontline defense against the returning Tevaran threat, being spread out amongst 4 escort carriers charged with providing cover for the main battle fleet. While many human capital ships did not fare well against their Tevaran counterparts, none of the ships assigned to Squadron 36 would suffer even a single torpedo strike in the 7 years of the war. This would cement the role of fighters in the human naval doctrine, with the Gladius at its center. The continued service of the Gladius after the war involved updating the ship with new engines, equipment, and weapons. These upgrades would be put to a new test in 2681, when a new hostile species appeared in the Orion system, the Vanduul. The conflict would force the Gladius to the forefront once more. Shortly before the arrival of the Vanduul, a pilot by the name of Condi Hillard purchased an old scrapped Gladius in 2677. She had recently been hired as a mercenary and was to soup up the old ship to help her with that new contract. Later, she was hired by a security company charged with keeping the peace in the newly settled Orion system, known as the Orion Defense Protection. With her custom Gladius, she patrolled the system for 4 years, mostly uneventful, until the raids began in 2281. 2 weeks after the first Vanduul raid, Hillard's outpost was attacked by a clutch of Scythe medium fighters. Since the first raid, she had doubled her patrols, and when the attack came, she was already in the skies with her unit. Utilizing the superior agility of the Gladius to the Scythe, she and her unit were able to shatter the attack before they could do any serious damage to the outpost. Only 15 people lost their lives in this raid, and Condi Hillard and her team became the first pilots to successfully defeat a Vanduul force. In 2947, Aegis and the video game Marina Commander honored her by releasing a variant of her custom Gladius to the public. The ship bared her livery, a custom loadout similar to her own, and is called the Gladius Valiant. After her victory, the UEE decided to send in the 36 Squadron, seeing as how effective the interceptors were against this new foe. After extensive battles with the Vanduul, new strategies were developed. Captain Jordan Toothpick Hamilton developed the 3-fighter carry-and leap technique for countering the tougher and harder-hitting Vanduul fighters. The 36th was also the first to discover an early means of detecting scythes hiding amongst asteroids, a common tactic they use even today, through a slight IR scanner irregularity. For years before the development of the F-7A Hornet, the only means to take down a Vanduul scythe was the skilled communication and maneuvering of Gladius pilots. This was exemplified on August 3, 2940, when 12 fighters of the 36th were tasked with escorting a whole sea filled with refugees from a recent Vanduul raid. The convoy wandered into the largely undefended rear of a Vanduul supply fleet. Using the fire control routed through the whole sea, while coordinating their attack, the lightly armed force of Gladius fighters took down 9 fully laden Vanduul transports and their escorts. While there is no doubt the Gladius is an effective fighter frame, its years of service are coming to an end. As the 36th is being given the first run of the Anvil F-8 Lightning, many of the aging light fighters are being reassigned to guard the home front. Many of the reserves are now being auctioned off and sold to the private sector as more and more Aegis ships are being transitioned from their military roles to the hands of civilian enthusiasts. The P5G Gladius Interceptor is still very much in vogue with security groups, pirates, and local militia, who are all eager to acquire the legendary frame for their own purposes, proving there may be life after death for this icon of spaceflight. Only time will tell if this remains true, as both Drake and Anvil have released their own challenges to the light fighter throne. However, there is little doubt of the Gladius's place in the history of humanity as the light fighter of the UEE. Thanks for watching this look at the iconic Aegis Gladius. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, leave a like, and discuss this and other lore topics in the comments below. Maybe even consider supporting Galactic Historian on Patreon. For as low as $5 a month, you can help videos like this come to life. With your help, we can grow this channel and get more people in the know about the lore of Star Citizen and other universes. Until next time, remember, ex historia ad astra.